This video is brought to you by the Talent Transformation Guild, helping you stay relevant for the future of work, learning, and leadership.
For a couple practical hints or suggestions on how to deal with feedback on the environments we deal on the day-by-day basis. One of them would be like on social media. We get a lot of social validation and interaction from social media. And I would love to have this idea of how you respond to people, or how you get feedback, or how you give feedback on social media on a less toxic way that we do right now. Can you give us a couple lights there?
Sure, yeah. Let me start by saying feedback is a gift. It should always be given and received as a gift, because truly, I tell you, Lillian, I gave a talk a couple weeks ago, and the whole time, no joke, big old piece of broccoli right there. Nobody told me. It was a 3-hour-long engagement. Nobody told me. This would have been a gift to me, right? It would have been uncomfortable for the person saying it. It would have been uncomfortable for me too, but nobody would have died. And our brains react as if this is the worst thing ever. It's a rejection, because again, for our brains, if you get rejected, you get kicked out of your tribe, you die. So this is very real for our brains. So the more we can actually engage in giving and receiving these gifts of feedback, the more our brain realizes this isn't life and death. There's a lot of gray, right? There's a lot of in between. So I'd say start by giving and receiving frequently. Social media is challenging. And the asterisk I put with social media is twofold. One, it's often anonymous, right? It's a lot easier for me to type something behind the screen or behind the face of the keyboard. So I put an asterisk there and say, be very careful. Is it somebody that you actually trust in person? Anonymous feedback is great. And I think that's a powerful way to give and receive feedback. But if it's too anonymous, if they don't even know you, then you risk getting feedback that may not be true, and they're just having a bad day and need to spout it at somebody. Mm-hmm. So be cautious there. The other thing I'll say about feedback is often we let the walls of defense come up when somebody says something to us that is just like, that's not who I am. And in those moments, I want to ask people to just take a deep breath and realize 3 things. It's not permanent. Even if this is true, it's not permanent. This is an opportunity to grow, right? If you are told, which I have been, that you're not very funny, it hurts, right? It still hurts. Okay, all right. There's an opportunity.
Don't worry, we think you're very funny.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. But if I'm not, and I value that, well, great. Now I know that, and I can go take lessons, and I can get tips, and I can learn. It's not pervasive, right? Every time you get something that's negative, doesn't mean everything about you is negative. It means this is an area that you can improve it. Great, okay. And it's not personal. I know it feels very personal, but I'm telling you this for good reason, right? I'm telling you this so that you have an opportunity. Everybody has weaknesses. Everybody has what I call lemons, right? And when life throws you lemons, what are you supposed to do?
Make lemonade.
Which I hate. Don't do that, right? Don't do that. Don't do that, because don't go seeking
lemon margaritas.
Yeah, or that, because like life isn't always going to throw you lemons and sugars and alcohol. It's just going to throw you lemons sometimes, and that's okay. If we bite the lemon, if we embrace that, if we own our own vulnerability, then we're able to actually grow from it. The final example I'll give you is Superman. I think a lot about Superman because we like to think of ourselves as these superheroes, right? Like impenetrable, we're just amazing. Well, Superman spent his whole life running away from kryptonite. If instead he'd owned that, he'd taken that lemon and he just bit it because that was his biggest weakness. Wonder Woman could have come in at that point and said, oh, hey, no worries. I see that you have a problem with kryptonite. I can cover you. So really, the opportunity here is really an empowerment of our entire team, of our entire culture, when we're willing to flaunt our kryptonite, own the feedback and say, oh, wow, yeah, I'm not so good at that. Great. Anybody here good at this? Because this is a problem for me. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm going to work on this and I need some help. So I think, giving and receiving feedback, welcoming it as a gift, staying curious and not defensive about it. It's a great opportunity to grow.
Fantastic advice.
Kids are the best ones, right? because they're brutal. They're honest. There's just like, oh yeah, you've gained weight. You know, like
Yeah.
I had one the other night. I went to see a friend, and her son was there, and I remembered him, and hey, how are you? How you doing? And he looked at me and he goes, I recognize you, but I don't know who you are. That's beautiful. I love it.
Thanks for watching. Please comment below and share how you are staying relevant. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with the new world of work, learning, and leadership.